The senator is there. Senator, welcome to the show again.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. And I wanted, let's jump into this about this bill. Let's start with that number 5,000, because that's been the sticking point. The Republicans that have read this says that we're allowing 5,000 people per day into the U.S. before the border is shut down. Can you explain this part of the bill and what it really says?
Sure. First, let me just be clear. That is absolutely false. What this portion of the law says is that if that many people try to come to and we run out of the capacity to immediately deport them, then we shut down the border entirely and don't even let folks try. So the system that we've built says, look, if you come to the border, whether you come through a port of entry or if you come between the ports of entry in the desert, like in Lukeville, we're called a notice to appear, that lets you just kind of go into the country and you're going to just stay there for a long time. What we're doing is we're dramatically increasing the number of detention beds so that when people come to the country, we put them in detention and then we deport them. And if we can't put them in detention, like little kids or families, we put them under supervision. And that means that they get, a watch or an ankle bracelet, and we're supervising them until they get their asylum interview, which we've made harder, and then we deport them. Even those two systems, right, the detention beds, we may run out of detention beds. We will only have 50,000 detention beds, which sounds like a lot, but there could be a day, as we've seen, where 10,000 people show up. So we need to have the ability to shut the border down entirely and say, nope, you don't even get to come in, not even to a detention bed. And that's what that it's actually a 4,000 number that allows the government to just shut the border down entirely and say, you know what, we need time to catch up. We've got to deport all the people who are in our detention beds. We've got to go through all these asylum claims, and we've got to remove people out of the country when they don't qualify. And we need time to catch up and have the system become more clear before people can try to come in with asylum.
So it
does not let people into the country. It just says you don't even get to try when we're busy and too full.
Is this a requirement, or is this at the president's discretion?
At 4,000, if 4,000 people come every day for a week, the president can choose to shut down the border. But at 5,000, which is kind of the number at which our system can't process people quickly enough, then it mandates that we shut down the border entirely. So it's kind of like Title 42 that we had during the pandemic, except for in Title 42, there were no penalties for people who tried to come through the border every day during Title 42. They just came over and over again. Our bill actually gives you a 1-year bar from attempting to enter the country if you try a second time. So it's like Title 42, but with actual consequences for folks who are wasting the resources of our Border Patrol agents.
Senator Sinema is joining us talking about the border bill that was negotiated and has now been released for others to see. So let's talk about the requirements for asylum. Is there going to be a more stringent screening process so that we're not wasting time with people whose claims are being denied in the long run anyway? Is there a pre-screening process in this piece of legislation?
Yes. So right now there is a pre-screen, but it's so easy to pass that virtually anyone can get through the screen. And this is a crazy statistic. Only 1 in 10 people even get that screen right now because we're so overloaded, the system's so overloaded. So our bill raises that initial screening substantially, pulls forward 3 bars. If you have a criminal record, if you've lived in another country before coming to the United States, or if you could have moved somewhere in your home country safely. If any of those 3 things apply to you, plus the higher screening standard, you don't even get past the gate. And so, when people are concerned about this 5,000 number, what they're thinking is that folks are just letting people into the country willy-nilly, which kind of is happening right now. But what we're doing is we're raising the screening. We're requiring everyone to get screened. We're pulling forward 3 bars. So if any one of these apply to you, you're automatically barred. And we're increasing the detention beds. And with doing all of that together, we're able to take people, put them in detention, do the interview, and then remove them from the country, all within a space of less than 2 weeks. So it's happening very, very quickly. Right now, as you know, it can take 7, 10, or who knows how many years.
Yeah.
What we do know, Mike, is that the majority of people who are coming to our country right now and claiming asylum don't actually have valid asylum claims. They're economic migrants. They shouldn't be using our system, abusing our system. And so what our changes do is stop that abuse and no longer allow them to claim asylum when they have no valid claim.
So let's talk about the possibility. I want to get back to you're going to have is it a test vote on Wednesday in the Senate? What does it look, what are you anticipating that you can get passage in the Senate on this?
Well, our goal on Wednesday is to do the initial vote to start debate. The way the Senate works, as you know, it's a very deliberative body. So we take a vote where everyone decides, do we want to debate the bill? And my hope is that we will have the 60 votes we need to begin debate on the bill. That will leave an opportunity for folks to share their opinions, maybe offer amendments, try and make changes to the bill. But the first step is to open debate. It's my hope that we'll have over 60 votes to open debate. And Mike, the reason I think this is so important is, as you can tell already, this is the most substantial change to asylum and border policy in over 4 decades in our country. And the impact on Arizona would be huge. And just to kind of note this, every single day this year, we have had more than 4,000 people approaching our border, not necessarily entering the country, but approaching the border. So if our law were in effect, this border would have been closed every single day this year, every single day this year. And meanwhile, under the current law, our government is giving them pieces of paper, these notices to appear, and they're entering into the country and just kind of blending into the country. Who knows when they'll see a judge? Our system takes it out of the judiciary, puts it into a fast, streamlined system where all the cases are decided within a week or two, but no more than 6 months. So fast. And then we're deporting people back to their home countries to send the message to the cartels that you can't exploit our asylum system any longer.
So let's talk about the House. The Speaker of the House said that once he saw it, it was worse than they anticipated or thought that it was going to be. Is there any chance, and how do you have conversations with the people in the House to get something that matches, to get something to the president's desk?
Oh, sure. Well, as you know, the Speaker's statement came out last night, very shortly after the bill came out. So I'm assuming he and his team are still going through the bill and learning about it. There continues to be a lot of misinformation and, frankly, lies that are running around about this legislation. In fact, I got to tell you, the part that is most shocking to me is this lie about letting 5,000 people a day in the country. This is actually one of the most important parts of the bill because it forces the government to shut down the border, which we've been asking for since the end of Title 42. So I think when cooler heads prevail and people actually take the time to read the bill and understand it, I think that people will get to make their own choice. Do they want to secure the border, or do they want to continue complaining about it as we head into an election? And those are really the two choices that we face, Mike. And I mean, this won't surprise you, but everyone knows exactly where I stand on this one. I actually want to secure the border. It is a national security crisis. And we can't afford 9 or 10 more months of people complaining about it as we head into an election. What we really need to do is just solve the problem.
Have you had an opportunity, or will you personally have an opportunity to talk with the Speaker of the House?
I have actually. I texted him and offered to give him a briefing, and I'm waiting to hear back from him. So I hope he takes me up on that offer very soon.
And the last question is how let's say this moves as quickly as possible. It's signed by the president. How quickly can you stand this up and start enforcing the pieces of this legislation that you say have the teeth in it?
Oh, that's an excellent question. So the border wall closure, the Border Emergency Authority, the one that shuts down the border, kind of like Title 42, that goes into effect the day the president signs the law. So it goes into effect immediately. Now, the other parts where we raise the standard and we shorten the interviews and we expand the detention beds, that'll take 30 to 90 days to do. Getting another 15,000 detention beds is going to take a little bit of time. So that gets done pretty quickly. I would say within the first day is the border closure, and then the other parts come online between 30 and 90 days, so just a few months. The key thing, though, is this border closure. Having that start right away is going to make a huge difference for us in Arizona because it ends the Lukeville situation, right?
Yeah.
That's key for us.
Well, Senator, we appreciate the time as always and your hard work on this. Look forward to see how this moves forward, and we look forward to talking with you again as it moves forward in the process.
Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
All right, thanks. That's Senator Kyrsten Sinema, Arizona's senior senator, talking about the border bill.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch the first season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.